The twin sons of Valerian painted the sky in shades of gold and violet. The royal city shimmered under its light, built from glassy towers that grew from the earth like crystal spears. At the center stood the Palace of Light, home to the royal family of the Valari. Their people were tall, elegant, and proud, known for their glowing eyes and calm voices that hid sharp tempers. Among them, Princess Lysera was the symbol of purity and pride. From her early years, she spoke against humans, the new arrivals from the blue world called Earth. To the Valari, humans were chaotic, unpredictable, and greedy for power. Lysera believed they would destroy the harmony of the stars if ever given a chance. In her most famous speech before the Grand Assembly, her voice rang across the hall. "Never shall I depend on a human hand. Never shall I trust the destroyers of balance. Let the stars fall before I unite with them." Her people cheered. To them, she was not just a princess, she was a promise. While the Valari celebrated their pride, far beyond their shining cities, a small human patrol ship drifted through the border zone. Inside, Ethan Cole, a lone pilot, adjusted his controls. He was quiet, patient, and disciplined, a soldier who had seen too many conflicts between species. The peace treaties between humans and Valari were thin as glass, and both sides watched each other with silent distrust. Ethan's ship wasn't built for war. It was a rescue and reconnaissance vessel. He had spent years searching for lost signals, damaged crafts, and stranded lives. Most of the time he found only silence and wrecks. But on this day his radar flashed, a faint signal deep inside Valari space. He leaned closer. The distress code wasn't fully human, but it had fragments of old Earth frequencies mixed with alien patterns. His orders were clear. Humans must never cross Valari borders without permission. But something in the weak signal felt different, almost like a cry. He hesitated only a moment, then whispered, "If someone's out there, I can't just ignore it." He turned off the transponder, locked his coordinates, and crossed into forbidden skies. As Ethan entered Valerian's atmosphere, his small ship shook from turbulence. The planet's beauty unfolded before him. Vast jungles glowing in blue light, rivers that shone like liquid glass, and storms that swirled with magnetic energy. He followed the distress signal through the dense clouds until he saw smoke rising from the jungle below. A royal shuttle lay broken among the trees, its silver wings torn apart. He landed nearby and stepped out, wearing his breathing gear. The air shimmered with spores and light. There was no sound except the distant hum of creatures unseen. Moving through the wreckage, Ethan called out, "Is anyone alive?" At first there was only silence. Then a faint sound, a weak cough. He turned sharply and found a figure trapped under a fallen support beam. Her skin glowed faintly like the moon, her long hair silver as mist. Her armor bore the royal crest of Valerian. Even without knowing her name, he knew what she was: royalty. He quickly lifted the beam using a powered exo-sleeve from his suit. The woman gasped as air returned to her lungs. Ethan knelt beside her. "You're safe now." "I'm not your enemy," he said softly. Her eyes opened slowly, and when she saw his face, human, she froze in disbelief and fury. "A human," she whispered weakly. "Get away from me." "You're injured," he replied calmly. "If I leave you, you'll die here." "I would rather die," she said, trying to push him away but lacking strength. Ethan sighed quietly. "You don't have to like me. Just stay alive." Without waiting for permission, he treated the wound on her shoulder using a field patch. The biogel sealed the bleeding instantly. She turned her head away, too proud to thank him. When he carried her from the wreck to his ship, she tried to speak again. "Don't touch me, human. My guards will find me." "There's no one left," he said softly. "I checked." Her silence after that was heavier than words. Night came fast on Valerian. The twin suns sank behind the horizon, and the jungle came alive with faint blue light. Ethan built a small protective field around the ship to keep out energy-sensitive creatures. He placed the princess inside, giving her water and a blanket. "I don't drink from human hands," she muttered. He shrugged. "Fine, then stay thirsty." For hours she sat silently, watching him work on the ship's communication device. Her pride told her to hate him, but her body reminded her of the pain, and the fact that without him she wouldn't be breathing. When she finally broke the silence, her tone was cold. "Why did you come here?" Don't you humans have orders never to cross our borders? Ethan didn't look up. I do, but your signal sounded like someone asking for help. And you came even knowing it could be a trap? Maybe I'm bad at following rules. For a brief second, she almost smiled, but quickly hid it. Foolish, she said. Maybe, he replied, tightening a wire. But you're still alive because of it. Hours later, the forest stirred with a deep rumble. Ethan's sensors blinked red. Movement, he said sharply. Through the dense foliage, glowing eyes appeared, creatures unlike any he'd seen. They were biomechanical hunters made from metal and bone, created to protect Valerian borders from trespassers. Now they had detected his human signature. Ethan grabbed his pulse rifle and adjusted his suit's defense mode. You stay inside, he ordered. Lysera lifted her head. Those creatures are from our defense systems. They destroy intruders. Then they won't care who's royalty and who's not, Ethan replied. Before she could answer, the creatures attacked. 3 of them leapt through the air, jaws wide. Ethan fired controlled bursts, each shot flashing in the dark. Sparks flew as metal shattered, but more came crawling from the shadows. One broke through and aimed straight at the princess. Ethan spun and fired, hitting the creature mid-leap. It crashed inches from her. She stared at him, stunned, not by the danger but by the human shielding her. When the last creature fell, the forest went silent again. Ethan's armor smoked from damage. He turned toward her and said, breathing heavily, We can't stay here. They'll come back. Lysera hesitated. You saved me. Don't read too much into it, he said, walking past her. It's what I do. He lifted her again, careful not to hurt her wound. She didn't resist this time. They moved through the glowing jungle under the light of strange moons. The air was thick with mist and the sounds of distant thunder. Lysera, weak but awake, watched the human carrying her, his movements steady, his breathing calm despite exhaustion. Finally she spoke, voice softer now. Why risk your life for me? You gain nothing from it, Ethan kept walking. Maybe because someone once risked their life for me. I couldn't save them, so now I try to save who I can. Lysera looked away, unable to reply. His words were simple, yet they broke through the walls of her pride. When they reached an old stone clearing, Ethan gently set her down. He scanned the sky. Storm clouds were forming again. We'll rest here for now, he said. She nodded silently, too tired to argue. As rain began to fall, glowing droplets lit the ground like stars. Lysera glanced at Ethan repairing his small camp device in the storm. He looked nothing like the destroyers from her speeches. He was quiet, patient, and strangely selfless. For the first time, she wondered if she had been wrong. Later that night, when Ethan finally rested, Lysera whispered to herself, I swore I'd never trust a human. Yet I live because of one. She looked up at the dark sky where the humans' ship lights flickered faintly. For years she had called humans reckless and heartless, but now under the rain and alien moons, the only heartbeat she heard close to hers was his. And far above them, unknown to both, the Valari royal fleet had detected a human signal deep in forbidden space. To them it was an invasion. To her it had become something far more complicated. Morning came slowly on Valerian. The jungle glowed faintly under the rising twin suns, casting long shadows through the mist. Princess Lysera awoke first, her silver hair damp from the rain that had fallen during the night. She looked around the clearing, half expecting the human to be gone. But Ethan Cole sat nearby, quietly checking his equipment, completely focused on the devices he had salvaged from the forest. She wanted to stand, to reclaim her royal pride, but her body protested. Every muscle ached. Her wound had healed a little thanks to Ethan's care, but she was still weak. She realized, with a reluctant pang, that without him she would not have survived the night. Ethan noticed her stirring and looked up. His face was calm, unreadable, yet there was a faint spark of concern in his eyes. You're awake, he said simply. Good, we need to keep moving. This place won't stay safe for long. Lysera's pride flared immediately. You think I am in danger? She asked, voice sharp. I am the Princess of Valerian. Our defenses, our people, would protect me. Ethan shook his head. Your people are not here. Only predators are. And I can tell you they won't care about crowns or titles. Only about hunting. For the first time she paused. She knew he spoke the truth. Her guards were gone. Her royal shuttle had been destroyed. She had no choice but to trust a human. The forest around them was alive, Strange glowing creatures slithered through the undergrowth. Birds with feathers like crystal flew overhead, their wings making soft chiming sounds. Every so often, the rumble of distant mechanical predators reminded them both that danger was never far. Ethan moved with careful precision, checking sensors, clearing paths, and occasionally pausing to scan for threats. Lysera struggled to keep pace. "Why do you move so carefully?" she asked, attempting to hide her fatigue. "You could just rush through. Humans are fast and strong." Ethan glanced at her briefly. "Because rushing kills people. Not just me, you too. If I make a mistake, we both die." Her eyes narrowed. His calm determination irritated her as much as it intrigued her. She had always believed humans were reckless, impulsive, yet here was one moving with patience, observing, calculating. He saved her, not for glory, not for reward, but because he believed it was the right thing to do. It made her question everything she had been taught. Hours passed as they navigated the dense jungle. Ethan carried her part of the way, then helped her walk, making sure she did not strain herself. The alien terrain was harsh, rivers of glowing water, jagged crystal formations, and sudden drops. At one point, a massive root nearly tripped them. Lysera stumbled, and Ethan caught her instantly, holding her close for a heartbeat longer than necessary. Her face burned, but she did not speak. She refused to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. "You're stubborn," Ethan said with a small smile. "That's good. You'd survive longer than most." "I am a princess," she replied, tone icy. "Survival is expected." "And humility?" he asked lightly. "Do Valari teach that too?" She scowled but said nothing. By midday, they reached the edge of a wide clearing where ancient stone ruins broke the forest's monotony. The stones were covered in moss and glowing lichens, remnants of an old Valari sanctuary, said to be built to honor their ancestors' first victories. Lysera's eyes widened as she realized the significance. "These ruins," she whispered. "My ancestors built this place during the First War of the Stars. It is sacred." Ethan studied the structures, noting their height and the way energy seemed to pulse faintly along the carved runes. "It might be our best shelter," he said. "Strong walls, old energy shielding. If the predators follow us, this place will give us an advantage." Reluctantly, Lysera nodded. They moved inside, careful and quiet. The air was cooler, filled with the scent of ancient stone and faint bioluminescence. For a moment, she allowed herself to feel safe. While Ethan inspected the ruins for hazards, Lysera wandered a few steps into the inner chamber. Holographic records flickered faintly along the walls. Curious, she reached out to touch one. A projection sprung to life, showing scenes from the First War of the Stars. Valari soldiers, standing side by side with humans, fought against a massive alien threat. Her eyes widened in shock. "Humans? We fought with them?" she whispered. Ethan came over. "Yes," he said softly. "Your people and mine, long ago. This war was before my time, but the records say we saved each other more than once." Lysera stared at him, unable to comprehend. For centuries, Valari teachings had painted humans as dangerous invaders, yet here was proof that her ancestors trusted them, that humans were not always reckless destroyers. A strange mixture of pride and doubt filled her chest. She had sworn never to rely on a human, and now, she was alive only because of one. Suddenly, the ruins trembled. A low mechanical growl echoed through the stone corridors. Ethan's sensors blinked rapidly. "They found us," he said calmly. "Not just predators this time. Your people's ships. They think we're an intruder and target." Lysera's heart sank. "My own fleet," she whispered. They will destroy you. Not if we stay careful," Ethan said. He activated a small shield generator and motioned for her to move behind him. "We have to find a safer area inside the ruins. The outer chambers are too exposed." As they ran through the corridors, glowing eyes appeared in the shadows. The mechanical predators had returned, drawn by the energy pulses of the sanctuary. At the same time, sensors indicated small Valari drones approaching, ready to attack anything human. Lysera grabbed Ethan's arm. "We are trapped." "We survive," he said simply. "You just have to trust me." Her pride flared. "I do not trust humans." "Then don't," he replied, glancing at her over his shoulder. "Just follow me." She gritted her teeth, but she had no choice. They moved deeper into the ruins, Ethan leading the way through twisting corridors and ancient stairways. The predators attacked with speed and precision, but Ethan fought them off efficiently. using a combination of weapon fire and clever traps built from the ruins' energy conduits. Lysira, though injured, helped when she could, pushing debris and triggering energy barriers. As they reached a central chamber, a massive holographic console sparked to life. It displayed maps of Valerian and nearby sectors. Lysira scanned the data, realizing the magnitude of what they had uncovered. Not only were they in a protective sanctuary, but they also held information about ancient alliances and secret paths through the jungle, paths that could save them if they escaped quickly. Ethan studied the console, noting the paths. "We can get out using these routes," he said. "It'll take us around both your fleet and the predators. We'll have a chance." Lysira nodded, swallowing her pride. "Lead the way, human," she said, her voice quieter than usual. He glanced at her, eyes softening slightly. "I've got you," he said. Always, the escape was tense. They moved quietly through hidden corridors, avoiding drones and predators alike. Several times Lysira stumbled, and Ethan caught her, carrying her briefly before letting her walk again. She hated how dependent she had become, yet every time she looked at him, she realized something strange: his courage, patience, and skill were unmatched. By nightfall, they reached the edge of the ruins. The jungle lay before them, dark and full of unknown dangers. Ethan checked his sensors. "We've bought ourselves time," he said. "But we can't stay here. We need to reach safer territory, somewhere they won't find us." Lysira nodded. Her mind raced. For the first time, she realized the truth she had avoided. The only reason she was alive was because of a human. And more than that, she had begun to respect him. She looked at him and said softly, almost to herself, "Perhaps." "I was wrong about your kind," Ethan didn't answer. He simply extended his hand, helping her stand. Together they moved into the dark jungle side by side. The predator growls and distant drone hums were still out there, but for the first time Lysira felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, but hope. Hope and an unspoken bond with the human who had saved her life. The jungle grew darker as night fell again on Valerian. Mist curled between the glowing trees and the faint hum of distant predators echoed through the forest. Princess Lysira walked beside Ethan, her steps slower but determined. Her silver hair clung to her damp skin, and her glowing eyes scanned the darkness for any threat. Ethan moved ahead, scanning the area with his sensors. He had mapped a path through the jungle that avoided Valari patrols and the mechanical predators. Every so often he would pause, kneel, and check for traces of movement. Lysira, though tired and weak, tried to keep pace. Pride and survival both pushed her forward. "Do you ever rest?" she asked quietly. Her voice was rough from lack of sleep. Ethan glanced back at her. "Rest is a luxury we don't have," he said. "Not until we are safe." She fell silent, realizing the truth in his words. For hours they moved through alien terrain, rivers glowing like liquid glass, massive roots twisted like giant snakes, and the strange mist that clung to everything gave the jungle an otherworldly feel. Every step carried a mix of fear and hope. After a while, they reached the edge of a crumbling stone wall partially hidden by thick moss. It was part of an ancient Valari sanctuary, a place said to be used by the royal family centuries ago. The ruins offered shelter, but it also held secrets. Lysira's curiosity overcame her fatigue. "These ruins," she whispered, brushing her hand over the smooth stone, "they were built by my ancestors. They fought here during the First War of the Stars." Ethan examined the ruins, noticing faint energy lines running through the stone. "It might also protect us," he said. "The predators won't be able to reach us easily here, and it can hide us from drones." Lysira nodded, but her thoughts were elsewhere. Her mind raced with memories of the stories she had been told about humans. All those years she believed them reckless, selfish, and dangerous. And now, one human had not only saved her life but had guided her through deadly terrain, fought off predators, and shielded her from her own people's drones. She had begun to feel something she could not name: respect, gratitude, perhaps even trust. But she pushed it aside. Pride did not allow her to depend on a human. Inside the sanctuary, they found a large hall with walls covered in ancient holographic records. Lysira's eyes widened as she saw the projections flicker to life. They showed Valari warriors fighting side by side with humans against a massive alien threat. Ships collided in space, energy beams lighting up the darkness, and warriors from both species stood shoulder to shoulder. Her voice trembled. Humans, we fought with them. Ethan nodded. Yes, long ago your people and mine worked together. We saved each other more than once. Lysera felt a shock of disbelief. Her ancestors had once trusted humans, and yet she had been taught that they were unworthy. Her mind twisted between pride, shame, and wonder. She realized that her oath, to never unite with a human, was built on generations of misunderstanding. Ethan's voice interrupted her thoughts. The past doesn't have to define the future, he said softly. Right now we depend on each other. That's what matters. Lysera did not answer. She only stared at the holographic records, feeling the weight of truth pressing against her heart. Suddenly, the ruins trembled. A deep mechanical growl echoed through the corridors. Ethan's sensors blinked red. They found us, he said calmly. Not just predators this time, Valari drones. They think I'm a threat. Lysera's chest tightened. My people, she whispered. They will destroy you. Not if we stay smart, Ethan replied. He activated a small shield generator, a soft blue light glowing around them. We need to move deeper into the sanctuary. The inner chambers will protect us. As they moved, glowing eyes appeared from the shadows. The biomechanical predators were here, faster and more numerous than before. At the same time, drone sensors scanned the ruins, ready to attack anything human. Lysera grabbed Ethan's arm. We're trapped. We survive, he said firmly. Just follow my lead. She gritted her teeth, pride burning inside her, but she had no choice. The sanctuary twisted around them, corridors and staircases leading to hidden chambers. Ethan set small traps using energy conduits from the ruins, slowing the predators' advance. Lysera helped when she could, triggering barriers and moving debris to block paths. Despite her exhaustion, she realized she was working alongside him, relying on his judgment. They reached a central chamber where an enormous holographic console flickered. Maps of Valerian and surrounding sectors appeared, showing safe paths and dangerous zones. Lysera scanned the data, astonished by what she found. Hidden routes through the jungle could help them escape both the predators and her people. Ethan studied the console as well. We can get out using these paths. It'll take time, but we'll survive if we move carefully. Lysera nodded. Her heart pounded. For the first time, she understood what it meant to trust a human, not blindly, but because she had no other choice. Hours passed as they prepared to leave. Predators circled the outer chambers and drones patrolled above. Ethan explained their plan. We'll move through the eastern corridor, then follow the river. The mist will hide us from sensors. We have a chance, but we must be quiet and careful. Lysera followed him without argument. She leaned on him when her legs wavered. And for the first time, she allowed herself to accept help without protest. Pride no longer mattered. Survival did. As they moved through the eastern corridor, a loud crash echoed behind them. One predator had broken through a barrier. Ethan reacted instantly, firing his pulse rifle with precision. Sparks flew as metal shattered, and the creature fell. Lysera felt a flicker of fear, but it was tempered by awe. This human, so calm, so strong, fought like he had done it his whole life. For the first time, she felt something unfamiliar. Not just respect, but gratitude, maybe even admiration. She quickly pushed the thought aside, reminding herself that she must remain a princess, untouchable and independent. By nightfall, they reached the edge of the sanctuary and the beginning of the river path. Mist rolled over the water, glowing softly under Valerian's moons. Ethan checked his sensors. We've bought ourselves time, he said. But we can't stop yet. The predators and drones will not give up easily. Lysera's eyes followed the path, shadows dancing in the mist. She felt exhausted, but she also felt a strange sense of calm. Beside her, Ethan moved with steady steps, always alert, always protecting. Her pride whispered that she should reject him, push him away, remind him she was royalty. But every time she looked at him, she realized that without him she would not have survived this long. Finally, she spoke, voice low and hesitant. Perhaps I was wrong about your kind. Ethan glanced at her, expression unreadable but eyes soft. Don't worry about my kind, he said quietly. Just focus on staying alive. She looked away, heart pounding. Her mind tried to fight her feelings, but they were undeniable. She had sworn she would never depend on a human, never unite with one. And yet here she was, alive only because of him, trusting him with every step, every decision, every breath. The journey along the river was tense. Shadows moved in the mist, predators prowled unseen, and distant drone hums reminded them that time was short. They paused to rest occasionally, with Ethan keeping a watchful eye while Lysera gathered her strength. Each time she stumbled, he steadied her. Each time a predator appeared, he shielded her, and all the while, she felt a connection growing between them, not romantic, not yet, but a bond formed by survival, respect, and the unspoken truth that they needed each other more than either wanted to admit. For the first time in her life, Lysera realized that her oath, never to unite with a human, was no longer relevant. The world had changed. The jungle, the predators, the betrayals of her own people, all had shown her one thing. Survival depended not on pride, not on past grudges, but on trust, and the only person she could trust was a human. The jungle of Valerian faded behind them as Princess Lysera and Ethan Cole moved cautiously along the hidden paths. The ruins and rivers were far behind now, but danger still surrounded them. The hum of mechanical predators lingered in the distance, and the faint glow of Valari drones patrolled the skies above. Lysera leaned on Ethan, her strength nearly spent, but her mind was sharp. The past hours had changed her. She had seen humans not as destroyers but as capable, loyal, and brave beings. And one human, this human, had risked everything for her. Pride battled with gratitude and trust, leaving her thoughts restless. Ethan glanced at her from time to time, reading her hesitation. "We are close to safety," he said quietly. "We just have to stay alert." She nodded, though she did not speak. Words felt unnecessary. Her trust was no longer verbal. It was action. As dawn approached, the first rays of Valerian's twin suns cut through the mist. They reached the edge of a small valley where a hidden landing field lay. Ethan checked his sensors again. "This is it," he said. "A place the drones won't scan easily. We can rest, repair, and plan our next move." Lysera stepped forward, her legs trembling. She realized that her survival depended not only on her own skills, but on Ethan's calm, patience, and courage. For the first time, she understood that strength did not only come from rank or royalty. It came from action, sacrifice, and unwavering resolve. "You brought me this far," she said softly, surprising herself with the admission. Ethan glanced at her, expression neutral, but eyes warm. "We're not done yet," he said. "But yes, I brought you this far, and I will bring you further if I can." Her chest tightened. Those simple words carried more weight than any declaration of allegiance or royalty. Their brief respite was interrupted by an urgent alert. Valari fleet scanners had traced the human signal from Ethan's ship. Within minutes, several Valari drones descended from the sky, prepared to destroy anything human. Lysera's heart sank. Her own people believed the human was a trespasser, a threat, even though he had saved her life. She stepped in front of Ethan, her voice loud and commanding despite her exhaustion. "Stop," she cried, projecting her royal authority. The drones hesitated, recognizing her as the princess. A Valari fleet commander appeared through the communication link, voice cold. "Princess Lysera, you are in violation of border law. That human is a trespasser. Surrender him immediately or we will fire." Lysera's eyes narrowed. Her chest swelled with a mix of pride and defiance. "You will do no such thing," she said. "This human saved my life. He is no trespasser, he is my ally, and I will not allow you to harm him." The commander hesitated, stunned by her declaration. It was unheard of for a Valari royal to protect a human, let alone oppose the fleet. Ethan looked at her in surprise. "Princess," he said softly. "You don't have to do this." "I do," she replied firmly. "If you think my people are right, then you are wrong. I know the truth. Humans and Valari have fought together before, and now one has saved me." The Valari commander's voice trembled slightly, caught between duty and respect for the princess. "Princess Lysera, this is unprecedented. Your people may not understand, but the fleet cannot act against you directly." Lysera lifted her chin, feeling the weight of centuries of tradition in her stance. "Then let it be understood. This human is under my protection. Any attack against him will be an attack against the crown. The next hours were tense. Lysera and Ethan prepared for any unexpected assault, while the Valari fleet reconsidered their orders. Meanwhile, predators from the jungle attempted to approach, but Ethan's shields and tactical awareness kept them at bay. Together, they worked efficiently. His expertise in combat and her knowledge of Valari defenses made them a formidable team. Lysera found herself relying on him in ways she had never imagined. Every decision, every move, every strategy depended on his guidance. Yet she also realized that his presence gave her a strength she had never known. She had survived alone many times, but surviving with someone she trusted, someone human, felt entirely different. By midday, the drones withdrew, ordered back by the hesitation of the fleet. For the first time, Lysera felt a sense of victory, not just over the immediate danger, but over the centuries of fear and prejudice that had shaped her beliefs. They rested in the hidden valley. Lysera turned to Ethan, her gaze thoughtful. "I swore I would never unite with a human," she said quietly. "I swore it with my heart and my voice. And yet, here I am, alive because of you. I have broken my own oath." Ethan looked at her, his expression soft. "Maybe you never needed to swear it in the first place," he said gently. "Maybe the stars just needed the right reason to change your mind." She smiled faintly, a mix of humility and relief. "Perhaps," she replied. "And perhaps it is time the Valari see humans differently. Time to end the old fear, the old lies." Word of her decision spread quickly among the Valari leadership. Some were shocked, others cautious, but none could ignore the reality. The princess had publicly protected a human and stood by him. By her authority, Ethan was granted protection and recognition, not as a subject or servant, but as an ally of the crown. Lysera and Ethan prepared to leave the valley, boarding his small vessel. As they flew into open space, the jungle of Valerian disappeared beneath them, replaced by stars and the endless void. Lysera stood beside him, watching her home planet fade, and realized that this journey had changed her forever. "You saved my life," she said softly. "Not because you had to, not because I asked, but because you chose to." Ethan smiled faintly. "I didn't save you because I had to. I saved you because it was right. That's what humans do when we can." She nodded, understanding him completely. "Then I choose you," she said. "Not as a human under my protection, but as someone I trust, someone I will stand beside." Ethan turned to her, eyes wide. "Lysera." She placed her hand gently on his arm. "You taught me something the old texts never could," she said. "Strength is not just in crowns, not just in rules. It is in courage, in loyalty, in action. And you are proof." The two of them looked out at the stars together, realizing that their alliance was more than survival. It was a new beginning. The galaxy had long feared humans or underestimated them, but now, a human and an alien princess had proven that unity and courage could overcome centuries of distrust. As the stars passed by the viewport, Lysera knew that her people would one day understand, just as she had. The Valari had survived centuries of war and peace, but perhaps it was the combination of Valari wisdom and human resilience that would guide them forward. Ethan's hand brushed hers briefly, a simple touch, but it carried unspoken trust and shared purpose. She didn't flinch. She didn't pull away. For the first time in her life, Lysera felt complete, not just as a princess, but as someone who had truly seen the heart of a human. By the time their ship reached a safe sector, far from Valari patrols and predators alike, Lysera spoke again. "The galaxy will remember this," she said. "Not because of a battle won or a crown defended, but because a princess chose to trust a human." Ethan looked at her, a small grin on his face. "Then let's make sure it's a story worth remembering." Lysera nodded. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of unknown challenges, new adventures, and the possibility of a future where Valari and humans could stand together, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as allies and friends. As they disappeared into the depths of space, Lysera whispered quietly to herself, a vow of a different kind. I may have broken my old oath, but I will honor this new one with all my heart. And together, they flew toward the stars, the first step of an alliance that would change the galaxy forever.